Hello, everyone. Good evening to Workplace Conversations 4.0. My name is Olumuyiwa Oludayo. I'm the convener of the Workplace Conversations. I am also the principal consultant at Nathan Lidgate Consulting. A little bit about that in a moment. I'd like to welcome you all to this fourth edition of our series on Workplace Conversations. I'm hoping that you're going to have a very good time with us today. I'm also hoping that you will also be sharing your thoughts and ideas with us as we commence today's meeting or today's session. The panelists are set. I hope you're set. But let's meet you. Can we please meet you? If you can, tell us where you're joining from in the chat. Please tell us where you're joining from. Let's meet you in the chat. Say hello in the chat. Let's know where you're joining from. If you can share the link to your LinkedIn profile, let's also know. Afola Kemiamao, thank you for joining from Ota. Adenike Tinuke, thank you. You're joining us from Lagos. Christian is joining from Christian Okirika. People Plus, thank you for joining from Lagos. Thank you, Adenike Lawal. Thank you, Bumi. Bumi Akinwani from Abuja, thank you for joining. MO Natural, thank you. That's Moji Jimo. Thank you for joining from Abuja as well. If you can, please drop your LinkedIn profile. Let people be able to connect with you in and out of this meeting. Omoye Brima joining. Adewi Ademola, thank you for joining as well. All right, because we know there's work tomorrow, these meetings are especially, we deliberately have these meetings on Sunday nights. The idea is that we want to be able to get you in the mind, on the frame for the work that begins on Monday. And that's the essence of these times that we have the session. I'm going to kick it off right away by saying thank you for joining and welcome. Like I said, my name is Olumuyiwa Akinrole. I'm the principal consultant at Nathan Lidgate. Nathan Lidgate is an organizational management practice. Our joy is that we are able to provide services to organizations at I think someone's microphone is on. I'm sure you can hear me. Okay. We have 4 verticals that we run our services from: people side, the organization side, the learning side, and the strategy side. As an organization, we have traversed a few parts of the nation, as you can see on the screen, and we have served quite a number of organizations. As you can also see, our impacts, we have trained over 10,000 people. We have analyzed over 2,000 assessments, personality assessments. We have helped organizations to recruit over 500 employees. We have developed over 10 corporate transformation frameworks. And we have also designed 7 organizational tools and still counting. Our services range across what you can see on the screen, and I'm sure at the right time, if you can, we'll be asking you to be a part of us. You can please you can please find a way to reach out to us if you want us to be a part of your journey as an organization. Having said that, let me specially recognize certain people joining us on the call today. Let me specially recognize a few people, and if they do not mind, I would really love them to unmute themselves to say a word before we go into the session for today. I'm privileged, so privileged today, and this doesn't come often, where you have the Permanent Secretary of the Public Service Office, Lagos State, joining you on a call like this. I see Ms. Sukomi Oyegbola. I recognize you, ma'am. Good evening to you.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much.
I cannot but acknowledge you. I cannot but acknowledge you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. And thank you for the good work that you're doing. I'm looking forward to learning one or two things this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Thank you for joining us. I would also like to recognize my friend and should I call her comrade in this people business. She's the CEO of People Pact, Bumi Akinrole from Abuja. Hello, Bumi. I'd like you to say a word of greeting to the people, to the audience.
Good evening, Dr. Olumuyiwa. Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure and a privilege to be here tonight. This is a pleasant surprise, Doctor. You're accepting me up.
It's okay.
I look forward to wonderful conversations here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bumi. Just two more people so that I don't make this an introduction session. Let me also recognize Mr. John-Moteh. He's the head of learning and consulting at CIPM. Mr. John, good evening and welcome. We want to hear a word from you as well.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very, very much, sir, for always engaging us and bringing learning sections like this. Flux Media, always very insightful. Thank you so, so much. I'm here to read.
Thank you. The final person I'm going to call, I'm sure she's going to be very surprised. She possibly doesn't know I know her. Omoye Brima. Welcome, Omoye.
Hi.
Hello,
Oh my
Omoye.
word, I'm actually surprised. Hi.
Yes. We can have people like you who lead. I mean, we can have people like you who lead HR in, I mean, very peculiar sectors joining us and not acknowledge you. Hello, Omoye. Good evening.
Oh wow. Good evening. Thank you, Doctor. This is a pleasant surprise, and I am glad to be on the call. I'm here to listen into my friends. I'm a light on. So I'm grateful, and thank you so much for the recognition. Very well appreciated. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And now let's meet our panelists. Tonight, for the first time in the history of workplace conversations, we're having the public service officer speak to us. We've always done, for the last three sessions, it's always been private sector. And when I met this lady, I said to her, there's a lot of wisdom in your head. I think the world will take it on. The second person that's going to be joining us is from the technology sector, a colleague. I mean, we've been working together for so long, and I know how she manages well-being. Again, it's going to be a pleasure hearing her speak tonight. And finally, is my darling sister and friend, professional colleague, one who takes risks in changing careers and changing career paths. You'll meet her as well. She's moved from logistics to FMCG. And maybe she'll tell us some things that has changed about that. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our panelists to you. Screen right now. Esther Adele is the Human Resources Manager at SnapNet Limited. Hello, Esther. Are you there?
Good evening, Doctor. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Thank you, Esther. Olaitan Oladimeji. She's a Senior Administrative and HR Officer at Ministry of Establishments and Training of the Lagos State Government. Hello, Olaitan. Are you here?
Good evening, Doctor. I am here. I'm happy to be here.
Great. I'm trying to say that thing they say in Lagos State. Igbega Eko Ajumo.
Ajumoshewani.
Ajumoshewani, yes. So, Eko Nyubaje. Let me welcome also Deborah John-Moteh, People and Culture Partner at Perfetti Van Melle Nigeria. Hello, Debbie.
Good evening, Doctor. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here.
Okay. Just before the conversation begins, I like to set a bit of ground rules. One of the first things we're going to be doing today, I'm going to be sharing a poll. I'd like you to please participate in the poll. The poll will be a conversation starter. Help us set the tone today. We're talking about employee well-being. Is it a flux or a fact? Are we just mouthing it? Are we leaving it? Are our institutions giving us the things that we need to thrive? Just before then, I'd like you to please look on your screens. I'm going to be releasing a poll, and I want you to please participate in the poll just for a few minutes. Please confirm you can see the poll. The poll is launched. Just one question, no two questions. Please, let's hear you. Let's get your voices heard now. The speed of response is very commendable. 72% of our respondents today of our attendees have responded. And that's faster than any other event we've had. So I'm assuming that today is going to be a very sharp one. For the rest of the 14% that are yet, 24% are yet to respond, please do respond. Do you feel your workplace genuinely prioritizes your well-being? Someone is already saying, I'm not sure. Can we have more people respond to it so that we can share the results? You have not responded, please do respond. For those of you still exchanging greetings in the chat, please do continue. Thank you, Taiwo Olajide, great partner from Sever, Nigeria, Pan-African Catering Services. Thank you for joining us. Shakumaku to you. Just in 30 more seconds, let's get some more responses in before we turn off the poll and share the thoughts. Ten seconds more. In 10 seconds, we'll just end the poll. And now, thank you. I'm going to try to share the results on my screen. Can you confirm you can see the results? Can you confirm these? Can anybody see the results of the poll on the screen?
Yes. Yes, we can see. Yes, we can see.
Yes. Okay, so that's the result there. 46% of us here say yes, and I feel the impact of my workplace prioritizing my well-being. 37% say no, and that's very, it's talked about but not lived. It's just it's a mouthing thing. And then 5 people say they don't prioritize it at all. So if we look at it very closely, we're saying another 3% says they are not sure. So 37 plus 14, that's 51 plus 3, 54%. Is 54%, and that's critical. That's data for us to work on, and that means our panelists will please come on video right. Come on camera, and let's start this conversation. Can I bring up all our panelists? Can I ask our panelists to please come on? Thank you, Esther. Waiting on Olaito.
Yeah, I've been disabled by the host, so I think you should look into that.
No host can disable you. You have been empowered.
I know, right?
So
Okay, can you see me now?
Yes, great. So ladies, thank you. Again, I don't know if anybody notices, all the panelists today are female. It's our own edition of International Women's Day. Okay, so, but that's not it. We're just fortunate to have the ladies lead this conversation today. Deborah, I'm going to start with you. Beyond buzzwords, what exactly does well-being mean at work? Because in a fast-paced FMCG environment like the one you work in, what does real employee well-being look like in execution?
All right, good evening, everybody. And thank you once again for having me. So the FMCG is a fast-paced environment. There are a lot of things that are going on at the same time. For me, it's one of those very few industries that has a lot of agencies, government agencies, bodies, trade unions, everybody putting in, it's everybody's business, because you have the you have food safety, you have recycling agency, you have some agencies, you have trade unions. And it's a lot of things are changing. A lot of people are trying to ensure that things are done right. Production is at peak. A lot of things are going on at the same time. And if you don't work in an FMCG that is a multinational or is trying to ensure that there are global workplace practices in place, then you realize that a lot will be going on at the same time. And the impact of that is that there are going to be a lot of seasonal work peaks. People are working, they're running shifts at the same time. There's a lot going on. Remote work is almost, even when there are flexible work opportunities, it's almost, it sounds like we're just saying it, but not really practicing, because you see somebody responding to emails by 2 a.m. And so employee well-being now becomes a case of, what do we do to ensure that, even though, so we're not denying the fact that there is the pressure, but how do we manage it? How do we ensure that employees thrive? How do we ensure that employees are still staying afloat? Because employee well-being is not just about the emotions, it's about the physical, it's about financial. Somebody said to me this week that financial insecurity doesn't sit at home. And that is deep, because truly, someone who is financially burdened, this will affect their workplace, the workplace input that they put in. So for an FMCG organization, employee well-being in execution is trying to see how much of influence you can have to reduce the pressure. Whilst we are admitting that there are workplace pressure, but we're trying to see how we can help employees to manage those pressure, and also trying to see how we can put in remedial or recovery protocols. And by recovery protocols, I say, so somebody works double shifts, after the person goes double shift, and the person is allowed to, stay at home for this period of time. So there is a 12-hour work period, and after that, this person is able to take this amount of break, or their compressed work week. So you can go Monday to Wednesday, and then Thursday to Friday, you are able to, stay at home. What are the opportunities that we have? The employee wellness program they are doing, how are we trying to cushion the pressure that is on ground at the moment? And then most especially, helping them realize that because for most times it is more like the production guys, for instance, will feel, oh, they're just sending out these policies, these HR programs and all of these, but they don't really know what we are going through. So once in a while you pull up to say, I know what you're going through, acknowledge that this is stressful, acknowledge that this is what has to be done. However, these are the things that we are doing to ensure that we cushion this. There's a survey that I read that says, you said we did, after taking employees' opinions, and then we analyze those surveys, and we firstly start by saying, this is what you said, this is what we have done, this is what we are doing, this is what we are able to do. However, we are looking into ensure that we do this in the subsequently. So just to ensure that you understand, because the truth is, production is necessary for work to go. I mean, that's what's getting our salaries paid. So we cannot eradicate it. However, what can we do to manage that pressure to ensure that you thrive while doing it? Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate your thoughts. All right, so I'm going to come to you now. From your experience in the civil service, how is well-being perceived, especially when leadership and policy issues are involved? How is well-being perceived, particularly when leadership and policy issues are involved?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Doctor. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to start by saying I haven't spent so much time in the public sector, but from my 8 years of working in the Lagos State Civil Service, I've come to realize that employee well-being sits somewhere between, I would say, a good idea and an actual practice. And the deciding factor of this is leadership. So I'm going to be very honest here. For the longest time, we have actually talked about employee well-being, and we've taught employee well-being. It's the salary, annual leave, and maybe sometimes HMO. We forget that if someone is stressed out or probably burnout, most times we don't always see it as employee well-being. And the response often comes like, okay, go and rest. Sometimes they'll even tell you, put yourself together, But there's one thing here. We need to start saying employee well-being as more than benefits. It's not just about the salary that we receive. It's not just about annual leave, approving annual leave, or the HMO. It's about how people actually feel at work. Do they feel seen? Do they feel heard? Do they feel supported? Do they feel safe to actually speak up, especially when they are overwhelmed? Without being scared of them being labeled as lazy or maybe unserious and all that. So in reality, I'll say leadership here really sets the tone. And when leaders show empathy, when leaders take mental health, the mental health of their officers more seriously, employee well-being becomes real. Employee well-being becomes real, and this also often helps different teams to actually thrive, to actually show up more engaged, to actually even down to productivity. Productivity just improves naturally. I've seen it work. So I know that if leaders are actually empathetic, if they take their officers' mental health more seriously, productivity improves. But we also have the other side where we have rigid leaders, leaders who are stuck in the old way of doing things, or leaders who probably just believe that 8 to 4 is actually more important than the output. Employee well-being automatically gets sidelined, if there's any word like that. Okay, so that's why I'll just proceed to there's an agent, there's an office that is backed by the Office of the Head of Service of Lagos State and the Ministry of Health. It's called Lagos State Employee Wellness Center, and Lagos Minds. They are the game changers, to be honest. If I was not in the public sector, I wouldn't even know that something like that really exists, because for the first time in the HR practice that I know in the public sector, HR professionals have had proper support, to refer staffs to that place, where they can actually get emotional and psychological support. It's not just the normal go home and rest kind of thing. Now we have a place that actually offers therapy, that offers counseling, that offers referrals, and it's amazing to see in the public sector. That's a big step for me. It's a huge step forward, Yes, I get it. We are not there yet. We're slowly moving from, I'll say we're slowly moving from a lift service to a lift service, where wellness is not just something that we actually talk about, but something that we actually act on. And yes, again, I'll say employee well-being, is evolving in the public sector. I'm happy, but I know we're not there yet. I know that it has to get to a stage where it becomes a part of everything that we do, from leadership decisions to everyday office culture. We're getting there. It's a process. Thank you.
Thank you, Lighton. So I like what you said there. We are going away from lip service to lift service.
Yeah.
Okay, so I almost thought you were saying leap service, LIP service, leap service, LEAP service. So I think both works anyway. Well done, thank you. Esther, it's evident that you are the geek in the room. You are someone managing, you're someone managing a tech-savvy, high-demand workforce. How do you really balance mental and emotional well-being with business urgencies? I like to know, how are you doing that?
Okay, the industry we play in is a bit peculiar. And contrary to what Olaiton and Deborah have said, the industry actually dictates the response to employee wellness, because right now tech is the new oil. So what we experience most of the time is, if you are unwilling to move with the trends in demand, you would be left behind. So I think tech companies responded by adjusting to work modes and embracing wellness a bit quicker than the other industries, because the transition from the regular 8 to 5, 9 to 5 became evident during COVID, and technology quickly provided an outlet or a way for their work to be done without people being physically present. So from as far up back as 2020, 2021, what we find in the technology sector is a lot of people have transitioned from the regular work hours, coming in at the normal time, to hybrid or fully remote workspace. Some technology companies do not even have brick and mortar. They work fully remote. And the guiding principle for wellness in the technology space is trust. Because when you don't have brick and mortar, you don't have a building that people come to. You have to have the system where the employees trust you and you trust them. It's supposed to be a give and take sort of thing. So what we find in the technology space is there are processes set in place to be able to ensure productivity and output. And that's on the part of the employer. And the employees trust that they will be rewarded, and the considerations that are due to them will come through when they are productive. And it's a bit tasking sometimes, because when you deal with software developers, data analysts, there's a high demand for them, and they play in the gig economy. So sometimes you have one person who is probably working for 2, 3 companies at the same time on different time zones. So even if you do extend some kind of welfare or well-being program to them, they might be burnt out because of the side hustles and other jobs they have. So trying to make sure that you are doing your best as an employer to take care of your staff, see to their mental health and their well-being, is sometimes met by these challenges that are honestly outside of your area of control, because you can't tell someone not to, take on as many jobs as they feel that they can take on, as long as the person is productive. So the hybrid work structure, what we find most times is people decide that they want to work certain hours. They try as much as possible to tailor their task to the hours that they feel that it will take for them to complete what they're doing, so that they can cope with the demand for their talent. Because this is the industry is an industry that is uh, searching for talent on a global scale. It's not just within Nigeria. It's people in Nigeria competing with people in Asia, competing with people in America. And sometimes we also hire people from outside the shores of Nigeria to do our work. So well-being in that sense is I have to do a lot of one-on-one. I have discovered that most times when you send out polls and surveys, it doesn't work. The responses sometimes are generic. Some people are, they feel maybe because they are tech people that the anonymous polls are not actually anonymous. So they're more comfortable with having personal conversations. So a lot of the things that I have discovered and the ways that we've been able to develop programs to tend to people's well-being come from these individual feedbacks that the feedback that we get from the individuals, and they are built, and it's the feedback usually comes through a built relationship. Someone who doesn't feel safe with me won't be honest with me, won't say to me, oh, these are the challenges I'm experiencing, I'm having this challenges with my job, I can't balance. And most of them are really young people. So what you find is maybe someone who just graduated from school, 22, 23, and there's so much pressure from their peers to get certified, to pick up so many jobs at the same time. And they want to appear to be relevant in their within their peer group. So you find that sometimes they take on more than what they can just to keep up with the Joneses. And at the end of the day, they become burnt out. Another challenge that we face with working in this industry is because most of them are remote, having to have them participate in even the welfare or the well-being activities is tasking. We usually have bonding sessions, team bonding sessions, company bonding sessions, and sometimes we need to organize online activities just to get the people that are in different parts of the country, different parts of the world to participate and to partake of whatever it is that we're doing for the staff who are in hybrid mode. So I would say that in this industry, it's not it's not specific. It's very dynamic and it keeps changing. It depends on a lot of individual, the kind of individuals that you have in the company at a particular time. Sometimes you have to deal with people who it's their first job, so they are responding as people that are inexperienced, and sometimes you deal with people who they've worked in other companies, they've come in with a bit of experience, and they're comparing what they have been enjoying or what they have not enjoyed in the previous place of employment with what you're doing there. So trying to find a balance between what the younger generation expects and the older generation expects, it's quite dynamic and ever changing. But we've been able to find a middle ground after several trials over the years, because for us to get to the point where we can say that at least more than 80% of our staff report that they are satisfied with the considerations that the employer gives to them, I think we've fared in that regard.
And you trust their response, right?
When I see the poll, most times I go to them and I initiate those conversations, because the atmosphere tells me if people are being honest or not. I don't do armchair HR. I do my best to be hands-on. I try my best to know everybody by name, know their faces, I know where they live. So I talk to a lot of people. I talk to most of them. Even the people who are remote, I try my best to interact with them on a one-on-one basis. Sometimes people say to me, you don't have to do this thing. Why are you always going to meet these people? And I said, if I sit down in my office, they won't come to me. And that has been my experience. Like I said, some of them are really young people, and they are inexperienced on how to navigate the corporate world. So some would prefer to just, suck it in and, discuss among their peers and go on social media and express themselves there. So sometimes I see things people post, sometimes I overhear conversations, and sometimes things trickle down to me, and I just try as much as possible to, get to know the individuals. It's been very interesting. It's been a very, very, very interesting journey, but it's been enjoyable. It's made me find out a lot of things about young people, and it's made me more sensitive to how they see life. It's a lot different from where I'm coming from. Things are a lot different from when I started working. So when I hear the stories, I hear what the experiences are, it makes me a bit empathic to them, because sometimes when they're thrust into this reality that this is how the world is and their standards, it affects their mental health. At first I was a bit perplexed by the constant referral to mental health. But when I took my time to engage some of them, I found out that it was the coping mechanism, trying to put up a brave face when you are living your life exposed to everybody, because they post everything on social media. When a friend gets certified, they want to get certified. When a friend posts that they've gotten an foreign job, even though you know you cannot cope with it, you want to do that because you're trying to impress your peers. So there are many, many things thrown into the mix in this industry, and it contributes to what you, and sometimes it inhibits the level to which you can deal with their or respond to their needs, because it's about what that particular individual or the set of people you're dealing with are able to take in as individuals. Sometimes I have conversations with people. I said, okay, can you let go of so much and focus on this? Can you place yourself and pace yourself so that you can move farther instead of overburdening yourself with some irrelevant things? So it's been very interesting in this industry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Esther. I mean, I would never have imagined that in the tech space like that, I mean, your dealings will be many as it is. Lighton, let me come back to you. And I really want to face you when we have to talk about, is well-being a right or a privilege? We are talking about, is it a flux or a fact? Is well-being a right or a privilege? And my question to you will be very simple. I want to know, in the public service where you work, benefits may be standard, but is well-being, because you talked about benefits earlier on, excuse me. You talked about benefits earlier on, but benefits may be standard, but is well-being equally emphasized? And I really want to know, how are the issues on like stress, job meaning, burnout, how are they treated in the public service?
Okay, thank you once again, Doctor. Okay, that's really an important question. And yes, in the public service, yes, we are clear on things like leave, I'll say again, pension, healthcare. Those are standard. But when it comes to employee well-being, things like emotional stress, burnout, grief, or simply feeling like you are valued or seen, it's not always treated the same way. It's not always treated with the same level of seriousness, like the way they will treat your leave, your pension, or your healthcare. But the truth is, officers are carrying, like, different people. We are humans. Officers carry silent burdens, that they can't even speak to just anybody about. And you still see them carrying those silent burdens, and also see them show up in the office every day, you know, doing their job, but inside of them, they are grieving a loss, or probably grieving something, or battling with anxiety, or completely just burn out. It happens, even personally, it happens to me, you know, and because of the culture that says, because of our culture that says, just manage, just be strong. You know, we're quick to say, be strong, everything is going to be fine. You know, it's easy to say, but you know, people don't talk about those things that we actually go through that is hidden behind our course of duty and all. You know, I hear people often say, this is public service, you know, just do what you can do and go home. It shouldn't be like that. You know, that mindset, it just quietly normalize suffering, you know, and that's actually not sustainable, because people should be able to do their work, you know, and also feel seen, also feel supported, you know, and purposeful. I'll say that. And that's why I'll still refer us back to the Lagos State Employee Wellness Center. You know, it's such a big deal for me. I'm always proud to say, like, okay, Lagos State, we have an Employee Wellness Center. You know, it's not just a place. It's a place where you can actually ask for help, you know, seek therapy. It's not luxury, because employee well-being shouldn't even be luxury in the first place. You know, it should be about it should be about the part of how we serve too. Because as HR officers, as HR personnel, you know, we can refer staffs there, staffs who need support. You know, they have working rooms, they have therapy, they have follow-up. You know, it's a structured place. It's a structured place. It's not just about the vibes, but about good intentions, I would say. It's a system that really works, you know. It's a structured place that actually gives comfort. And, you know, if you want to build I used to tell some of my colleagues, like, if you want to build a healthier public service, you know, we have to stop treating wellness as an afterthought. We have to stop treating wellness as something that, you know, we just organize a program and a facilitator just comes to say something, and we still go back to the same way we've been living, you know, because at the end of the day, civil servants are humans. They are not machines, you know. If we take care of the people, I'll say, they will also take care of the service. So I'll leave you at that.
This wellness center you're talking about, thank you, Lighton. This wellness center is open to everybody, or only those in the service?
No, it's open to those in service. It's Lagos State Employee Wellness Center. So if you want to join us, you can come and join civil service.
Ah, okay, sorry.
You're welcome.
Sorry, Deborah, they said if we need it, we should come to Lagos State Civil Service.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
I'm not sure you want to change careers again, Deborah. I'm not sure you want to change careers again from
Deborah, logistics. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So she's
Deborah, let me ask you.
To join.
I know, right?
He's selling public service to you, right?
Yes.
I'm proud
so
to
Deborah,
be a
let me
public
ask.
servant.
It's okay. No problem. Your PS is here, and I'm happy that.
Oh my goodness.
Taiwo Olajide is saying in the chat that we are paying tax to Lagos State. So why should we not be part of the wellness center? We are paying tax to Lagos State. We need access. Taiwo Lighton has heard
Lashma.
Okay.
I've heard him.
So Debbie, let me come to you. Do you think managers, HR managers, line managers, functional managers, do you think they are well equipped to support their team members' well-being? Or do we need a mindset shift? And I'm not talking about HR programs, but do you think managers are equipped enough to deal with this thing? Lighton mentioned a few things at the beginning. She talked about leadership, and Esther talked about empathy. What are your thoughts around what do we really need? Do you think managers are equipped, or do we need a mindset shift?
All right. Thank you once again, Doctor. So for me, this question strikes at the heart of why many well-being initiatives fail. Most managers everywhere, a lot of times they are promoted because of their operational excellence, not because of their leadership capabilities. There are people leadership capabilities. So we promote a manager who is hitting their numbers, who is doing right by what is expected by business metrics and performance reviews, not because of their people leadership skills. So someone who has very terrible people leadership skills, but is hitting the numbers as a salesperson, is made a sales manager or is made a sales director. You know, we've asked people who all they've known all their life is how to ensure that they meet targets. We've made them coaches and well-being mentors basically overnight, and we expect that they do that or they deliver without giving them the right tools or the framework of what to do at the moment. So the reality is that managers aren't cute, and it's not because they don't care. It's because they really don't know what to do. So we expect that someone who we expect that at the moment it's almost mid-year appraisal or mid-year review season. You need to meet your numbers, their numbers that has been given, or there are certain targets that has been given, and then you have someone on the team who comes in to say, I'm burnt out, I'm stressed, and their default is to say, you know, they're cutting. Is this person making an excuse, or do I really need to care? You know, I hear people say, I mean, there was a time I was talking to a manager, and he said, he said, work comes before family, because when you want to marry a woman, before you get there, the first thing they say is, where do you work? They don't say, who are you? And so it feels like work defines who you are as a person. Now, when you have someone like that who has that mentality that work defines you as a person, you don't expect that person to have some sort of empathy and emotional intelligence, because they feel like we are here because of work. We're not here to make, I'm not here to babysit you or here to make you feel good. Or, I mean, and in their mind, they're thinking everybody's going through it. And even the nicest of the bosses will say, oh, that was how it was for me. In fact, during my time, I had 3 children. I was going from the mainland to the island. My husband was not supportive, and you expect that even women who go through a lot would provide cushion for the younger women. But the truth is, what they knew during that time was, you know, sorry, to be fine, just get it done. You go more weekends and rest. But but employee well-being is beyond. It's holistic, and a lot of times we look at it from just one side. We look at it from just the emotional part of it. We don't look at it from the holistic, which is the physical part of it. Employee well-being is as little as buying an ergonomic chair in the office, where the employee doesn't have back pain. It's beyond paying competitive salary. It's as good as the retirement plan program or trainings that you are giving to people. There is a training that one of my organizations that I work used to do, which is leading with the arts. But the problem I realized with that training is that we deploy these trainings, like Olaitan said earlier, we deploy these trainings and leave it at that. We don't go back to evaluate the influence that this training has on people. So after you finish developing a beautiful training, there is no training effectiveness. You're not looking to see the effect of these trainings on the people. If the training is not even interactive, it's not action based. So what they're just doing is just learning. They're learning. I don't even know how to put it out, put it to use the impact that this training will have on their employees. They're not even measuring as managers to see that this training is effective. So employee well-being is beyond just the programs. It's holistic, and it's the little things. I always say that some of these big names, these buzzwords that we say, if we actually sit down and break it down, we'll realize that it's in the very little things. It's in a manager coming to work and actually, like Esther said, going around to say, how are you today? You know, I was work. How was it like getting to work today? Oh, there was traffic yesterday night. How was it coming back to the office? Ensuring that you know the things are going on with your employees. They can warm up to you. So it's important that as people managers and as line managers, as HR leaders, as far as you are managing people, you need to have the emotional intelligence and the empathy part. It's a mindset shift. It's beyond the programs, it's beyond the initiatives that we're bringing on board. Even when we're putting in these trainings, are these trainings action-led, where during the training, you are teaching them how to give feedback. You are teaching them how to take feedback. You're teaching them how to, reach out to people, how to know what is going on in the team, how to measure the emotional well-being of employees without speaking. Great managers or good managers know what is going on with their people without hearing what they are saying. From their look, you can tell. You can tell that this person is not, your face looks, sometimes, I heard a story about an HR manager that says, your face is shifting. The person looked at the person and said, your face is shifting. I said, how do you mean my face is shifting? I said, you know what, let's check your BP. And the BP was so high. In fact, from the office, she went to the emergency room. And you can imagine what would happen to that employee. The manager had not noticed. So it's our duty, and I really don't blame managers, because again, they have not learned. Even they have not. You don't give what you don't have. Even they don't have that. They were not taught. Managerial. It's really difficult. You're trying to, or maybe you just got backlash from management. I are coming out. I are trying to see how it's going to work. How you're going to meet up with your target, and then you have somebody in your team who is burnt out, who is stressed, who feels disconnected. Lighton said something earlier, which they said it affects productivity. I say it every time, if your employees are emotionally connected, they are going to give their all. But the moment when there is a disconnect, it doesn't just sit at home or affect other things. It affects even your work. It affects your output. It affects how much they are able to give. And like I said earlier, just to reiterate the fact that it's little things. We just need to start learning to even be good and kind people, because people are going through a lot. And so as managers, it's beyond the programs, it's beyond, the initiatives that we are doing, just coming another initiative once and again. Good to have initiatives, things that make you look like a great place. Meanwhile, your employees are disconnected. So we need to begin to see how we can have action planned, mindset shift, especially from leadership. These things mirror down. When you see that the CEO comes into the office every day and greets everybody, I work with a CEO that comes in, shakes everybody and all of that. You see that the managers, the people who report to him begin to mirror that down, and then it begins to come down. Everybody feels genuine care and concerns for their employees or their colleagues. Thank you.
I like the energy in the room. From our panelists and even to the audience, the energy is good. The feedback is also very good. If you look in the chat, you possibly have seen a few comments there. Dennis has said, managers most time use employee wellness as a tool for control. I mean, I wish Dennis could explain more what it means by they use this as a tool for control. I'm not sure if I really do understand it. If you can, please shed more light on that. Moji said, maybe at times difficult for managers to separate real from fake workforce in terms of mental health requirements. Like Esther said, sometimes I asked Esther just now, are you sure these guys are saying the truth? And she goes, by my mere observation, I can tell from the energy in the conversation. I think that's what Deborah has also said. You can tell if you have been connected enough. You can tell when somebody is lying or when somebody is not lying or when somebody is saying the truth. Moji also said, remember that these managers, Deborah, they are talking to you. These managers too also carry their own mental health baggage, while still being expected to perform at their own optimal level. So, I mean, me, I'm not also well. I mean, particularly if you are getting to have leaders, female leaders who are reaching menopause and they're having hot flushes and all of that. I mean, how am I going to be dealing with that? And then one girl is telling me that she has menstrual cramps. I can't reconcile. Everybody has their own issues. You start hearing things like, everybody has their cross. Let's drop it at home. Let's not bring our personal problems to the office. But can you ever separate yourself from, can you ever separate whatever is wrong with you and not bring it to the office? Maybe these are kind of conversations we need to be having. Edet from, I think Edet still works in Hairs. I don't know, Edet, if you're still in Hairs. Edet says, how do we draw the line between coping and building skills such as tenacity and perseverance? Again, the idea is we all have different capacities, Edet. Some of us have thresholds that cannot bear many things. And I think from recruitment, we should really know who and who can do certain things. Many of us recruit people, in our JDs, we have written, can work under little or no supervision. Little or no supervision. But when we are recruiting such people, we have never tested that particular metric. We only look at where did you work last? How much can we pay? Are you within our pay band? What certifications do you have? What was your last performance like? And then we run. Question is, hey, can we really cope? Can this person really cope? What are those metrics that you put in place to test these things?
I test it.
Again,
I test it with exercises, and some of those
really?
psychometric tests. I test it.
Okay, so share it. Let's put somebody here now. How do you test those things?
Okay, so I currently have a very robust PTS, success factor and Avature, Talio, those three that I have worked with. From the process of recruitment, there is a psychometric assessment that employees go through before we even start the interview. And there are a series of assignments that employees are supposed to do. Let me give case in point. There's an HR manager coming in, and then we have emails that you're supposed to respond to. In those emails, each exercise, it looks like you've resumed at work, and it gives you things that you're supposed to do. So from there, you see, what am I supposed to do? You have scenarios where we say there's this issue going on at the moment. What are you supposed? Are you supposed to send an email to this person to say go on and carry on this? Are you supposed to say delegate? So we're testing your supervisory skills, your delegation, your people management skills, and all of that with those scenarios. So if you're able to run the scenarios properly, and then from the results, we can actually see that this person needs little supervision. This person actually is able to delegate. This person is someone that does the job by them. So this person is someone that micromanages. And then sometimes also with those scenario-based questions, psychometric assessments, where you're giving scenarios, plain scenarios, no right or wrong answers. They're saying, so if you're in this scenario, what will you do? And they're not right or wrong answers. So the person is saying what would do. From those responses again, you can deduce that, okay, this person is a good people manager, or this person is a micromanager. So we're able to test with those psychometric tests.
So I think you should drop, thank you very much for sharing that. Would you want to drop those? I don't know, I'm coughing. Do you want to drop those tools in the chat? You mentioned about 3 of them. Drop them in the chat so that somebody here can, make use of them.
All right.
Esther, I'm going to just ask you one question, and then let's see how we can wrap this particular segment off. You talked about the rise of hybrid remote work, and you already mentioned that in your own industry, you guys really were the ones who embraced this very, very quickly. My question to you is this: how do you think employers should think about employee well-being? How do you think you should, in the tech environment, how should we think about employee well-being? And besides what you are doing, what is that counsel for anybody on this call that is currently leading a tech organization? How do you think they should perceive employee well-being?
Okay, thank you for that question, Doc. It's a very good question. I know that you had mentioned earlier that do we view employee well-being as a right or a privilege? And I would say it's a bit of both. It's a right, but it's also a privilege, because as a human being, you're entitled to care. It's one of the I think Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's one of the things that as a human being you desire and you hope to get. And it's also a privilege because when you look at it from the employer's point of view, you accepting to work in an organization is contractual, and you have signed the dotted lines and agreed, and you're saying, I'm going to work for you. So if the employer says, okay, let's take care of you, or let's find a way to make your working in this organization a bit more pleasant, it's a privilege. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is because I see a question here from Farouk, where he's speaking about employees gaming the system. Even when Deborah was talking about psychometric tests and all of that. In our industry, they can use AI to game your test. They'll just pick your test, put it in the AI and say, oh, AI, solve this thing for me. Let me be the perfect candidate. And AI will do it and churn it out. So you can't rely 100% on the test results, because they're very smart. They use technology to find solutions to whatever you throw at them. You know, people come for tests and they use AI to solve, even, write code and stuff like that. So what we do is we call you up, we have conversations with you, we talk to you, and from those conversations we can tell if this person has the intelligence just by speaking to them. Some of them can't use the technical terms, some of them can't even explain the steps because they used AI to do the test. So when you're talking about employee well-being in this industry, what I feel is that, like I said before, when that trust is there between the organization and the organization is prepared to extend certain privileges when an employee has been proven to be trustworthy. And that is where I'm going to leave it at. I wouldn't say to you I would say that you should take it step by step. Let me give an example of what has happened in my own company. When we first started the hybrid work, I think people were doing 1 day remote, and we had to track how people responded to working remotely. We had to come up with policies that guide the way people behave while they're working remotely, the patterns, and all of that. And when we saw that people were adhering and following through, we added an additional day. And there are certain people who came into the organization, they were working full time, and today they're fully remote. Majority of them earned that privilege, which is why I said that it's a right, but it's also a privilege. So even though it's your right, sometimes you have to earn the privileges by building trust and showing that you are responsible. So for someone who is in the tech industry, if you want to increase or appear to be, not appear, if you want to attract top talent as an employer that cares for your staff, you have to first and foremost assess the attitude or the emotions within your staff. If you have staff who have a high level of indiscipline, you would have to take it slowly. Secondly, like what Deborah said, it comes from leadership and it also comes from the managers. If you have managers that do not buy into your vision of employee well-being, it will be very difficult for you to implement. Now, I depend a lot on the team structures the team structure that we run in the organization, the feedback I get from the team leads and the managers, because they are the first point of call for every employee. There's some peculiar cases where I might have access more to a staff than a manager if there are some underlying issues within the team. But majorly, the feedback I get is from the managers. So if you're setting up your tech company and you do want to be perceived as as an industry or a company that cares about its staff, you need to look at who you've brought into the company to help you build it. You need to make sure that they are on the same page as you, they buy into your vision, they are empathetic, and they're willing to embrace change. Sometimes what you have experienced in your career, like what Deborah says, they are not plausible in today's environment, you know? So it's just about trying your best to look for technological solutions to address the challenges that you have. Um, Back to the question that Farouk asked about people gaming the system, there are things that you can introduce. For instance, your rewards and recognition. You could reward someone for being, for instance, we have an award that recognizes people who are very cordial. You have a happy attitude when your colleagues come to you. How did we come about giving this award? I heard reports of, oh, whenever I'm working with this person, I get an attitude, this person ignores me. So we said, okay, if we speak to them and they don't want to change, let's turn it into a competition and see if there's some kind of change, a kind of change will come about. So we said, okay, if you are the nicest person, the person who is going to declare how nice you are will not be in your department, because at the other at most times what we find is that in the department they may say we want this person to win, so everybody in that department now says, oh, he's the best behaved, he's the best behaved, and they share the reward. But we get the other departments to vote and to nominate, not just to vote, to nominate who they believe is the most friendly, the most helpful, the most collaborative staff. And then everybody now has an attitude check, because they're like, oh, if I'm mean or I'm unpleasant, nobody will want to work with me. And then we also encourage people to speak up about things that go in within their departments or their teams that does not make it easy for them to work with other people. Like I said, in this industry, the greatest problem I have is people do not know each other. A lot of things are done virtually. So what you find is that it's just a name on the screen and you're like, who is this person? And because of the speed at which people come in and leave tech organizations, sometimes when you're just getting to know someone, the person has moved on to somewhere else. So sometimes you see these people are trying their best to juggle work and then try to integrate as teams. So these are the challenges that we face in the industry. And at times it becomes overwhelming um, for the employer to merge all these things happening at the same time. So the best way for you to fuse your team as a tech person is to ensure that communication, you establish that communication first at the team level, then at the organization level. You can use things like rotation. For instance, we started something out this year where we started with our graduate trainees, and it's proved to have worked, or it's working, where they spend a couple of weeks in their parents' department. Then we send them to other departments, chiefly the departments that they will be working with more. And the reason is this: we're trying to create empathy, that if you understand what this other person is doing, when the person reaches out to you, you have worn the shoes and you know where it pricks. So when someone reaches out to you from another department that is not your department, you're more empathetic to the person's needs, and the response is quicker. And then you form friendships, you get to know these people, you get to know their names, you get to know them as individuals, and it's helping that synergy in the organization. Like I said, this industry is very dynamic, and it requires a lot of creativity. So if you're coming into tech, you're struggling with these challenges, what I would say is be creative, then have a lot of conversations with your staff. When you listen to them, you'll be able to devise a means to design an employee wellness program that will be beneficial to them. It is not a one
Thank you.
hat fits all situation at all.
Thank you, Esther. I mean, I've had the privilege of working alongside some tech companies as well, and you've been spoiled. All of a sudden, you see something in your resignation. I'm wondering, why are you resigning? They say, well, the way they spoke to me, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I'm wondering, but nobody heard now. You did not tell anybody, you didn't speak up. The idea is that, man, am I going to speak up? Am I a child? I will now start looking for mommy. I'm looking, I mean, I'm not going to suck up to anyone. And so there's a lot of responsibility on leaders in the organization to get to know the people they work with, whether directly or indirectly. Now, I'm going to turn the microphone into the audience. Before I ask the audience for questions, and then I'll come back to my panel. I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. One thing, what one thing have you seen that's actually working to improve employee well-being? I'm going to drop this in the chat for everyone in the call, and I need you to respond. One thing you've seen actually work to improve employee well-being, and one thing you think organizations need to stop pretending works. What is that one thing that you've seen that actually works? And what is that one thing you think organizations need to stop pretending that is working? Can you please respond? So you are going to give me 2 responses. The first one is what is really working. And the second one is what they think is working, but not lie. You know they work, but they think it's working. Can I get your responses? Remember, we're all here to learn. We're all here to learn. What is that one thing that is working, and what is that one thing that we are pretending is working, but it's not working? I'm going to have my panelists respond to the things they see that strikes them in the chat. Waiting for you to respond, please. Amina, what's your response in the chat? Bolajoko, empathy is working. Team bonding is working. Hey, Moji says empathy and money. They are working. Money answers all things. Give me money and I will not have hot flushes anymore. Give me money and I will not have headache anymore. All right. Empathy and money. What else is not? What else is working, and what is not really working, but management thinks is working? Trust deficit is not working. Okay. Thank you, my peers. No, money is not working. Oh, money is not working. That's what you meant. Oh, empathy is working, but money is not working. Okay, Moji has corrected me. Money is not working. My panelists, please get ready to let me know which one you're going to respond to. Creation of the policies is working. Edit. Funding the policy is not working. Oh my God. You have created policies that people can do X, Y, Z. Yet you are not bringing the money to get it done. Deborah talked about economic chairs. Who's going to buy it? Open communication is working. Is that what you're saying, Noyoze? What is not working? Open communication like the one Esther does. Team building is working. Empathy is not working. Oh my God. Empathy is not working. Bureaucracy is not working. I guess that's what you're trying to say, Moji. Managers ensuring well-being is not working. Who is going to buy the chair? Economics. Who will go buy the chair? It's in the policy, but it's not in the budget. It's in the policy, but it's not in the budget.
Right.
Actually, working alerts. Actually, working is alert. Money. Not working. Too much policies are not working. Okay. My door is always open without actually being available or approachable. That one is not working. Amazing. I'm loving this audience. Somebody is telling you my door is open. Oh, open door policy. Yet the person is not available or not approachable. A guy is not working. You're mouthing it. Okay. So let me bring my panelists to take on any of these things in 30 seconds. I want to take a few announcements after that. In 30 seconds, Lighton, what do you think? What do you think?
Well, I'm looking at the comments here, and to be honest, I would say what is working really is people first leadership. You know, my peers have said it, empathy is working. You know, if we have empathetic leaders, it's going to be easy. You know, leaders who don't just ask about their reports, so to say, or don't ask about this job, without even asking how you're holding up. You know, it makes a big difference. And those little moments of care, you know, recognizing someone's effort, you'll be surprised. It goes a long way. You know, listening without rushing to say, where's my report? Where's empathy really works. And, you know, when you have people first leadership, it just summarizes everything up to say that, you know, people actually feel human and they work, they're not machines, you know, they work. If you don't service a machine that you're using, like, okay, I'm going to give an example about my car. I didn't drive it for like a year. I just left it. You know, it didn't stop working, but I just left it. I didn't feel like driving. So I left it. And after a period of time, you know, I just wanted to go back there to just pick up the car to drive it. It doesn't work that way. I had to spend a lot of money. You know, it took my time, took my energy. Humans are not machines. So I think people first leadership really works, because when you have an empathetic leader, trust me, she doesn't even have to motivate you with money. You just find out that you're doing so much without asking for money in return, or maybe any monetary value or anything. You know, I've seen this happen in various MDAs in Lagos State too. So I'll say people first leadership.
What's MDA, by the way? What's MDA?
Ministry, departments, and agencies.
Okay, MDAs. Okay.
Yes.
Before you think, I think it's Olumuyiwa, Deborah, and Aisha or something. Okay, Esther, tell me what is not working. 30 seconds. What is not working?
What is not working? Well, if you don't have a high budget, it won't work in this industry because you're competing with on a global scale. Empathy works. A lot of money works. And I think that's basically it. Empathy, then increase your budget. That's what works in this industry. They want to know you care, and they want to see you support them financially.
So, Deborah, what is working and what is not working?
Okay, so what is working? I think firstly, knowing what works for your organization and the environment that you are in. One thing that I have also learned from this session is that sometimes we just go in, and you know, myself and Ola actually just said about that before starting. You think you know, as people manager, as leaders, you've led people for 15 years, so you know what works. But then you get into another industry and it doesn't work. For instance, Esther said, you know, those polls and those surveys do not work. For me, logistics FMCG, it has helped me a great deal. Coming in, first thing I do is drive culture audits, drive, you know, employee opinion surveys, pulse check, employee attitude surveys, employee perception surveys. I drive it and it works. It just changes the whole thing. So if imagine me going into tech tomorrow and feeling like I'm such a great HR leader, and I come in and I share it and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So firstly, one thing that works is understanding what your people want before driving those initiatives and, you know, coming in to drive those programs and trainings. Firstly, finding out what works here. These people don't have, because also if you have empathy and you're in a place where they are not used to it, the first few months, they're not used to it, so it's not welcoming to them. They are gauging to see, is this really what it is? You know, it's new to them. So I think that's firstly understanding what works in that environment or that organization with what works. Now, what does it work? I'm sorry, but employee wellness programs does not work. We just have it. It's a good one. Every organization has it. HMO has it. But we're not even measuring if they are using it. Do they even know? I just called a therapist. I called her because I wanted to know how people were using it. And she said, psychological issue is not medicine. So I can call a doctor to speak to a therapist. That is somebody that I am paying high premium to give my employees employee wellness programs. So I think that it's just another initiative. If we're not measuring to see if people are using it, I'm sorry, it's just another initiative or program, and it really doesn't work. That's not what is defined as employee well-being.
Employee wellness programs don't work if you are not acting on the findings from those programs. If you are not processing that data, it is not working. We're about to close tonight, but before we do so, I just want to get to announce a few things. If you can see my screen, just please confirm. I'm trying to share a few things on the screen. Can my panelists confirm they can see my screen now?
Yes.
We can see it.
Yes, we can see
okay,
it.
so I'm inviting you all to this, to help us with this survey. There's a survey that we've been collecting for a while. We really want to know how do we get people ready for the workplace? So if you are a manager here, you are a hiring manager, can you help us complete? Colleagues will be dropping the link in the chat. They have also dropped our feedback link in the chat. Please, we want to know if this event actually we're having is really worth it. Again, we invite you to please respond to this. We invite you to please respond to this survey. As is on the screen, you'll find the chat, the links in the chat as we go on. Again, what next for us? As we continue this event, we want to extend some invitations to you. As we try to close, there is a public speaking masterclass coming for HR professionals, July 19, 2025. I mean, maybe Deborah will like this, maybe Esther will like it, I don't know, who else would like it? And it's a free event. So many of my friends have accused me of doing so many free events from quality material, but maybe this is my own ministry, all right? This is what I believe I should be doing. We make money from something else, but not from this kind of.
This is your
So
CSR.
this is my own CSR, exactly. So you're specially invited to this public speaking masterclass for HR professionals. We can take a maximum of 100 people, a maximum of 100 people. You want to register for free now. The link is there, it's free. It's going to be really intense. I think it's a Saturday, July 19. I'm not sure. What is it? Yes, it's a Saturday. So just get ready to walk through from 7 p.m. to about 10 p.m. It's free. So if you cannot hold up for that long, it's not a class for you. It's not a class for you, but it's master class for HR professionals. And we want to engage. We want to help you learn how to communicate publicly. The next event we want to invite you to is our next edition of Workplace Conversation 5.0, career transition into a place of interest and relevance. Moving from logistics to FMCG, that kind of conversation. Career transitioning, we're talking about career transitioning, moving from financial services to tech. Esther was, Deborah was in logistics, now in FMCG. Esther was in financial services, am I correct? Esther, you're in the bank?
Yes.
You're in the bank, now you're in tech. Lighton was in private sector, now in public sector. So, but they're not going to be the ones speaking. Don't worry, I'm not repeating them. I don't want to burn them out. I don't want to overuse them so they don't get burnt out. So, but we're going to be having this next month, July 26, 2025. If you complete our feedback form and give us your data, we will be able to send you the details of this meeting again. There is a big event. I really think anyone who wants to be in charge of influencing should join. Come August 2023, we're going to have a personal transformation seminar. It's themed Power of Awareness for Personal Success. The Power of Awareness for Personal Success is also free. These events are free. I pray my reward is on earth and not just in heaven. I just pray my reward is on earth and not just in heaven. So I'm inviting you again to register for this one. Personal Transformation Seminars. This is holding in August 23, 7 p.m. West African time. And there's the big one. This is the biggest program I've ever done in my life. This is the biggest one I've ever done. This is the biggest I've ever done. It's called Becoming a Consultant to Kings. This is a physical conference, and this one is not free. This one is not free. This one comes at a huge cost. If you register your interest, we would send you the costs implication. The date is actually September. We fixed the date earlier today. It's actually September 21, September 21, 2025. Becoming a Consultant to Kings is about equipping people to solve the problems of those with influence. There are people with influence. How do you solve their problems? So we want to just help you become a consultant to those who have influence, those who are rulers, leaders, high net worth individuals. How do you solve their problems? That's exactly what we're going to be doing at this time. Okay, so let's bring it home. We're about to close now, and I want to thank you all for joining. I'm going to bring my speakers back again on the spotlight. And this time, I just want to ask one final question, and it's a very, very, very personal. Very, very. So, please clear your throats. Let's move to a very personal zone. It's 9:34 already. I have to close very soon. I want to invite each of you to share one real moment, whether employee or as a leader, one real life moment that changed the way you think about well-being at work. Just one one real life moment, and I don't want you to do more than 1 minute. If you do more than 1 minute, I'll mute your mic. Just share with me one real life moment that changed the way you think about well-being. Esther, I'm going to start with you. One real life moment that changed the way you think about employee well-being. 1 minute, or I'll mute your mic.
Okay, working in the financial services industry, where a lot of the negatives that have been emphasized this evening have been spoken about, that's when I realized that you don't have to extend, or let's say replicate, what you went through when you have the opportunity to make a change. So I took all the negatives and all the toxicity, and I said, this is how not to behave when you get to management. So it has fueled the empathetic culture in my organization. Back then, like what Deborah said, they would say, suck it up. Uh, I'm pregnant like you. I'm a woman like you. I'm doing it, endure, and all of that. But I learned from those experiences that the people coming behind don't have to go through what you went through. And when you have the opportunity to make a change, you make that change. So that's my experience.
Thank you. Public servants, what's your real life story?
Okay, I'm just going to say a quick story about a colleague of mine who just, she comes to the office every time. She's very vibrant and, all smiling. But that day she just walked into the office, she just felt really, everywhere was just very quiet. I just asked her, what's really going on with you and all. So she said she was going through something with her family. Her husband was having an issue at work and all that. I didn't say anything. All I did was I gave her a listening here because I am a hotline. I just gave her a listening here. I just told her to calm down, just take it easy and just talk to me. And later, after the conversation we had, just lighting up the environment, lighting up the mood and all, it's not just about work every time. Like Debbie said, the managers have to be aware about their team members. If you are not aware about your surrounding, if you are not aware about your environment, you just find out that productivity becomes zero. And, that's it for me. I just feel like well-being, is not about what happens in the office alone. It's about supporting the person, a whole person. It's about supporting that person totally. So that's it.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for supporting your friend totally.
You're
so
welcome.
Debbie, talk to me. Real life. I saw that post you made on LinkedIn. For a moment, I told Lighton. Lighton saw that post, and Lighton said, the point is, I said, no, nah. The moment I saw my first daughter, I said, no, nah. I know that she has only one daughter. It cannot be her second daughter. There's only one daughter he has. So tell me, from real life, what exactly have you as it shaped your mind for well-being?
So that scenario kind of happened to me, but I didn't want to come out straight. So, I had to rewrite the story. Like nobody comes for me. So, I've experienced both the good and the bad side of, employee well-being. But I like to reminisce the good parts. So I worked in an organization where I had an opportunity to travel to a continent I've never been to. I was on mat leave when I was selected to travel, and I almost rejected. My boss calls me, a male boss calls me to say, you are going to take up this opportunity because it's one for the books. And so I left my 6-month-old baby and I traveled. My colleagues called my husband, were sending food, were calling my mom. Everybody was on standby to support my family while I was away. At the time I was going to resign, it was a family decision. I had to call everybody to say, so I'm going to resign from this organization. You people need to go and sit about it, pray about it, think about it. I'm giving you this. I know up until yesterday, it's still you see that's and there's been a lot of other things, but you see that moment was one that made me realize that you know, even when you're approaching people, it's not beyond the work. It's now human. Like they know that they value your person rather than the work that you bring to the table. And, you know, for me, it will always make me scream about the organization being a best place to work, a great place to work, rather, a great place to work because of that, you know, human feeling and human relationship that they bring to work. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying what's my wrong with this, but then I also had a manager that I got home very late, and I said, "Oh, my baby, I couldn't get my baby up from school. She's she was in school till late, and my husband was also working late, and you know we're stranded." And she said, "Okay, so how about the document you're supposed to send to me?" So
Wow.
you know, and at that point, I went to my system and I wrote my resignation letter, waiting for the day to be sent out. So you know, those two situations would either make or mar how employees stay in the organization, how long they stay in the organization.
Thank you so much. This has been very insightful. Just like Favor Obi said in the chat, a very insightful session. I hope completed the feedback form. We will need it to send you the recordings of this session. We'll need it to send you the transcripts of this session. We'll need to send you the lineup of other events that you should be a part of. Moji's also saying she's really enjoyed the session. Please, our surveys also have been dropped in the chat. Help complete that survey. Let your voice be heard. Noyose Sagwa is also very grateful to all the panelists. She's grateful. All our events are in Lagos. Physical events are in Lagos, but for all the other events, besides the becoming a consultant at King's, they are all virtual. They are all virtual. But the physical is going to be here in Lagos, Lagos mainland to be precise. We don't like the water, like Laiton and Esther like the water. We don't like the water like they do. I don't know if there are any questions, just to clarify. Edet, you've been a very good brother. Thank you for all your comments. Your comment in the chat says employee well-being is important because it can have severe consequences. His own thought is that he lost his staff in April and he lost him to stroke that came from high blood pressure. His family was outside Lagos. He stayed in a short-term apartment, and the person had from several banks he needed to pay, and we did not see. He said the organization did not see enough, and we lost him. People are going pressure. They're keeping up with the Joneses, like Esther said, and they're taking on loans to buy brand new cars. They want to also own a house, so they go and sign up for some loan mortgages, and then because they want to blow in time, not knowing that they're blowing up their lives. Again, panelists, you've been asked to please share your LinkedIn profile. Please, I mean, they're asking to listen, I mean, follow you after now. Farouk Anibaba is asking you to do so. Moji is also affirming what Edet has said. He said she almost had the same experience. Thank God the medical team spotted the person on time and eventually had to force her to drop the job and travel out for more treatments. Great, great, great thoughts to all of you. My PS, thank you so much for your kind words. I want to say it's been a great evening tonight. I'm just going to ask my panelists to say one final thing, and that final thing will be to you saying, if we must change one thing about how we work, about how the employers and the workplaces approach well-being, if we must change one thing, what is that one thing that we should be changing? What is that one thing that we should be changing if we must change one thing about how workplaces should approach well-being? I'm going to start with you, Deborah. If we must change one thing about how, oh my God, you have to bring your baby to the room. Thank you. Employee well-being. Deborah, what are your suggestions? What's one suggestion? How do you think the workplace should be changing approach towards employee well-being?
All right. So I would say that because you suffered it doesn't mean the next person too much. Change can start with you.
Because you suffered it doesn't mean other people should also experience it. Change can start with you. That's a powerful punchline. Esther, let's hear yours. What one
I
thing
would
that you
say
changed?
level of creativity when it comes to employee well-being. Because what worked for Gen X and millennials might not work for Gen Alpha. Well, the Gen Zs they're almost becoming 30. Some of them are getting into 30 now. So we're going to be dealing with the Gen Alphas, the Gen Betas, and what worked for Gen X, millennials might not work for them. So you need to be creative in your approach and try as much as possible to gather information and data as to how you can develop those programs that will address the requirements or what the needs of the employees are.
Work one will not work for all. Lighter from the beach side.
Okay, so for me, I'll say instead of occasional programs, occasional wellness programs, let's begin to build employee well-being into our everyday structure of how we lead, how we plan to manage people. And I'll just say in one line, at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup. A supported workforce is a productive one. So that's it.
It's a productive one. It's been a pleasure. To everyone who joined us tonight, main core is experience. Workplace experience. Let's keep the conversations going on our teams, in our HR practices, in our leadership choices. We want to believe that we will make the workplace a place where every one of us will be delighted to be in. On behalf of the entire team here at the Workplace Conversations and on behalf of all the panelists, I'd like to say thank you. Have a restful matter. Your well-being is work worth doing. Have a good night, everyone.